Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel where I hope to inspire you to capture the vision of your life. If you are new to my channel, hi, welcome. Please remember to subscribe and to click that gray bell to be notified the moment I upload another video every Wednesday and on the weekends on all things ADHD, mental well-being, and personal development. Today's video is going to be about ADHD and isolation, something I just got done going through because I had the flu. And the influenza is not something I wish on anyone. Let's get into the topic at hand, but stay tuned to the end and I'm going to give you my humble opinion on why I don't think isolation, when used correctly, is always such a bad thing. Why do we become isolators with ADHD? My own personal opinion and from my own experience, I feel like it has a lot to do with just the embarrassment that comes with having ADHD, the shame, feeling misunderstood all the time, which is obviously leads into feeling socially awkward and things of that nature, which then leads into the negative cycle of depression and just an overall melancholy feeling towards life. And then obviously just anxiety in general. It just leads you to feeling like, I don't want to be around people right now. It's just easier to go it alone. You don't want to explain the failures of your life, why you're not hanging out with a certain person anymore, how a certain job didn't go the way you expected it to, how you're no longer volunteering at a certain position anymore, how you're not really doing good in school. And this can go on for a period of time. There's so many reasons why you just don't really want to interact with people anymore. A lot of it has to do with being overwhelmed in life in general. And it's like you just need to take one big stop on life. The overwhelm in life can be bad for both men and women. Looking into this, sometimes women have a little bit more of the tendency to isolate, not to say that men don't, but the pressures on women to come off a certain way. It's that idea of always being connected properly with all of your friends, your acquaintances, and your family. Like you just got it all together in that social arena. Or that you have a proper work-life balance and everything's just coordinated and then you have everything together at home. Everything is just thus and so. You do your laundry on time. You have everything coordinated. You have a set schedule. You go to bed on time. You wake up on time. You have a bedtime routine, a morning routine. And when you get to work, you have your office desk set up a proper way, or you just have your day schedule set out in a way that it's just going to be executed properly. That's just not going to happen when you have ADHD, or it doesn't happen easily to us per se. So there's an overwhelm that comes with life when it comes to that, just in general as well. There's just overwhelm that comes with life with ADHD. And I know I talked about that a lot last week, but one thing I didn't talk about was the fact that it leads you to isolate. I know I mentioned reaching out for help, but a lot of times when you're overwhelmed, it's the last thing that you want to do, but it is the one thing I do think you should do if you're not going to use your time in isolation wisely, because I do believe that it can be a downward spiral of negativity towards yourself, and you should be careful. I have gone in cycles of isolation, and in those cycles of isolation, I find myself speaking really, really negatively about myself to myself. And when I have days when I can just sit and isolate, sometimes I don't use those times and those moments wisely. Sometimes I do, and I'm very intentional with making sure I use those moments wisely, and that's what I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. But when you are isolating because you're overwhelmed with all of your ADHD accumulating to this one negative moment, and you are isolating, zoning out, vegging out to TV, vegging out to social media, and being more negative towards yourself because all you're viewing is everything that you don't have together, which is your life, because social media is just, again, a facet of somebody else's life that's presented in a perfect way, but their social media is so much more better than mine. They speak so much more eloquently than I do. So when you're sitting there vegging out to TV, to social media, when you're zoning out to video games, or you're just sitting there wasting time scanning the internet on all things that aren't productive for your life, that's when isolation can be something negative. When you're binge eating, when you're lopping around and you're not being productive, you're not being creative, and you're not using your time in a way that'll make you feel better about yourself in that isolation that you need, that's when I think isolation could be a problem. Like, I don't think that having time to yourself is a bad thing. And that is what I have to say about isolation being used for good when you have ADHD. For me, I think it is so important for people to get comfortable with being alone by themselves and using it as a time to pick themselves up and to speak kind about themselves and to do things that'll make them proud of themselves. Like, oh my gosh, I got that simple task done today. I finally read that book I told myself I really wanted to read and I haven't started and it's been a couple months or it's been years. Or I finally painted for the first time in a long time, or just whatever it is that you want to get done that you haven't gotten done, or things that you want to do that you never do but you say you want to do. When you're isolating and you don't want to be around anybody because you're so sick of not having your ADHD validated or understood, do the things that you want to do that you say you're never going to do. Spend time with yourself and be a good friend to you. I definitely want to be careful in saying that don't isolate forever, because I can speak from experience in saying that it's not a good thing, that it will lead to a time and a place when it becomes that vicious cycle, that sickness, that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of, see, nobody wants to be around me. I am not good at interacting with people, so therefore I'm not going to. I'm only going to be alone because nobody will ever understand me. I get it. Sometimes you don't feel understood. And sometimes it's really hard to get yourself out there and to go out there and to push past all those socially awkward feelings. But when you use your time of isolation to work on yourself, you build up your self-worth so you're stronger to present yourself to society when you finally are ready to interact with people. If you're going out into a world and all you're looking for is the negative side of everything and everyone, and all you're getting back is their negativity towards you, why don't you try to start looking for any positivity? And I do believe that that'll start reflecting back to you. I recently read and looked into ways of viewing people more positively, if that's even the right way of wording it, or how to have a better relationship with people in general, whether it be your coworkers or your family or your acquaintances or your friends or strangers, is look at them and try to find their positive attributes. And the more you see the positive side to them, that is what you'll see more of. It's almost like when you find out about a new car that you like and that ends up being all that you see. When you look into somebody and find their positive attributes and you start looking for more of that, you end up seeing more of the positive side of them and the softer side of seers. But seriously, look for more positivity around you, and instead of looking for the negative in others and assuming they're always pointing out the negative in you, why don't you just look for the positive in people? And when somebody is negative towards you, realize it's not a reflection of you. It's literally their own junk. I know that's easier said than done, but the more you practice the art of that, the more easily it'll come to you, and the more you realize that they might just be doing the best they can in life and the best that they've been equipped in life to do. That it's not about you and you being a failure and your ADHD makes you a sucky person. It's, I have ADHD, they might not get it, I understand that, I'm gonna let that go. Next, who can I put around me that is positive? And don't hold on to that one person that you had a negative interaction with, or that one instance that one person happened to be negative towards you. There's so many ways that we can really allow ourselves to be down on ourselves. We are hardest on ourselves. So when you take time to build yourself up when you're alone, then you go out into the world built up because you spent time to build yourself up, and your self-worth comes from within. Your enoughness is already there, so you don't need other people to validate who you are. Not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to understand you have ADHD. And one other thing I have to say is, if you have faith, for me, my faith is in Jesus. I reach out to him and I spend time with my creator, and I choose to believe that he made me this way. As Lady Gaga said, I was born this way. If I wasn't who I was, the world would not be as exciting as it is, because I add a different lens to the world, and what I bring to the world, when I'm bringing to the world the best version of me, I only make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. I think I've sang that song again. I'm repeating myself. I need new material. With all that said, reaching out to your friends when you're isolating and you are in that negative isolation and not in the positive isolation, or if you need help in isolation to go from that negative mindset to a positive and you can't talk yourself out of it, I do think that that is the time that you need to be bravest and most courageous towards yourself and reach out to a friend or a family member or somebody that you know gets you regardless of your ADHD, and just give them a phone call and ask them to just hang out with you for a moment, make you laugh, tell them a little bit about what you're going through, and get yourself out of that odd funk that you're in, because we've all been there and it sucks. And sometimes the only way to get yourself out of it is to call a friend. That's when I think that isolation needs to have a hard kick in the rear end. So if you don't have anybody in your life that you feel like gets you or that you want to reach out to, go to online forums, go to Facebook groups, get an Instagram account, and start reaching out to people that get you. And I promise you, strangers on the internet will make you feel so understood, and that'll be the beginning of feeling like you're not alone, and that'll really, really, really help those moments of isolation when you are just depressed and you can't get yourself out of a funk. It is not a fun feeling to feel isolation and to feel that loneliness that you don't know when it's going to end, and it's not fun. It's scary. It's like you feel like you're never going to get away from that shame and self-defeating place that sometimes ADHD can bring you down to. So please do yourself a favor, use isolation for good to build yourself up. And if you need to reach out to somebody, do. And if you have nobody to reach out to people online that have a very good chance of understanding exactly what you're going through. So I really hope you got something out of this video. Please let me know in the comments below. You know, I always love hearing from you. I try to reply as fast as I can, as often as I can. When I forget, I try to remember, but sometimes I don't, and I try to get back to you to the best of my ability. Please know that it means the world to me when I hear from you, and share this video with anybody you think might get something out of it. Let me know that you liked it by giving it one big thumbs up. Remember again to subscribe to my channel and to click that gray bell. Click that gray bell to be notified the moment I upload another video every Wednesday and on the weekends. And you all must know by now, but you are all in my prayers. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. My voice is back.